Lucas Orimba is my name, and been brought up in basically a fairly Christian family. Both my parents were believers. We were 10 siblings, and I happen to be number 8 of the family. Out of our family, I'm the last of the sons and men. I was brought up well until when I was in primary school at around class 5, and out of peer pressure, I got involved with some friends, and as a result, I started doing drugs. Cigarettes, which escalated to marijuana, and I became, by the time I was getting to class 8, I became a heavy drinker of changa. I was blown, but because of what my dad, the nature of my dad's work, he was a police officer, and he was a bit tough, extremely tough on us as the siblings. It was either you leave the house or you turn to what he wanted, and he valued education. So I struggled also in high school with the same habit. It wasn't easy, but because of what my dad had, the conditions that he had put. So in high school, I got involved with, because I went to school in Islands, I continued with the habit of drinking heavily in school, being sent away from school. But what I really struggled also with was in high school, I got involved with criminals, big-time criminals. And I saw most of them being killed. And by then I was in school. You know, I was struggling to balance school and this kind of life. And it was a struggle. And since I had begun when I was very young, I always say that I had lost all the youthfulness of a young child. I didn't have that, because whatever I used to do in primary school and high school was what I would see other people doing. Part of the people that I used to get involved with, that I had put in my life as friends, were criminals, and who most of them were killed, and some of them died. I always say that I was lucky that I never escalated to heroin and those hard drugs. But there's a time that I was doing my exam, and that day I went to where changa was sold, and it happened not to be there because I used to drink and go to school. So I was going to seek to do my exams, and I passed by, and it wasn't there. There was nothing to sell. So late after 2 hours, I came back, and the ones that got drunk between that time, over 10 people died out of the same and lost their sights. That was the first. So I thought that I was a bit wiser, but I wasn't wiser. And many people died. It was a highlight in the TV. I escaped death or blindness narrowly, and God preserved me. Years later, it continued. That was my life. Used to steal from people, mugging people. And I remember one day, somebody almost passed out in my hands. And every year, I knew that I had a void inside. So, because at least every year we'll see people dying, and at the end of every year, before the last day, the crossover night to the following year, I used to spend time in church for 10 minutes. So I knew that I needed God to do something in my life So even if something happens, I knew that I was safe in church. If I die in church, by that time, nilikuwa nimejipimp, I had, you have all the drugs in your pocket, but at least you feel safe in church. And after the crossover, I realized that God has given me another year. So I would walk out of the church and go and do the stuff that I used to do. Until one day I was so desperate. My health was deteriorating badly, and I was living a lie. And I was sent away from school. And I went and sat somewhere, and I was desperate. And I remembered the child that I was in class 4. And I asked God, will you take me back to that little boy that I was? I missed that life. And I would break and I would cry. But that was a conviction in my heart. But still I did not give my life to Christ. I was so hooked to so many things, and it was very difficult to break. When I cleared high school, I failed terribly. I did fail terribly. But I found my way bridging and getting into a college, and I did that. But while in college, that's when my change came. I was in church. I hated God. I hated church. My elder brother was a pastor. He's been a pastor all through. But I hated him. So I went to church, and the summer went on, and I can't explain how I found myself at the pulpit breaking. I was a hard nut to crack. I never cried all my life. But that day I broke down and I allowed Jesus to come into my life. That's in a nutshell. And there was no Teen Challenge then. And that's when I had done overhead engineering in Kenya Tel, and guys were being posted in Zambia, but I didn't go to Zambia. I remained behind, and because I had given my life to Christ, I really wanted to work with young people, and I would see that gaps still are there, and I really wanted to work with young people. And John Martin, who were the founders of Teen Challenge Kenya, they met a pastor who wanted guys who had been in a drug addiction because they wanted to start Teen Challenge. So the qualification that we were picked in, and like right now, we really want to look at the credentials. The qualification was that you needed to be a drug addict and you're saved. And I had those credentials. I was a drug addict and I was saved. So we came in, we went through the material, we started Teen Challenge after going through the training. And every day in Teen Challenge, we were looking at the gates. Where will our first student come from? We didn't have any student. We didn't know how to run a Teen Challenge center. But we were about 7 staff. We wanted guys to come in. So we had to go out to get students and plead with them, come to the program. It will work. Yet we know that we don't know if it can work. But one thing we were sure is that there was hope in Jesus. Because that hope worked for me. There was nobody to disciple me, but that hope worked for me. I was so convicted that Jesus, and convinced that Jesus is able to transform a life. If he did it, and many other testimonies that I had, Jesus was so able to do that. And every day he nurtured me. We started in challenge with our first student, over 10 staff, 1 student, and it was so exciting. And it is so amazing over years that today we have close to 80 students. And that is the doing of the Lord. We started in Ridgeways, and we only had 1 student who represented 1 county. But today, Teen Challenge is known in almost all the counties in Kenya. And it is a joy to know that Christ is reached in every corner of this county. And we want to grow because our motto was reaching out to every drug addict and giving the hope of Jesus Christ. And it is so marvelous in our sight to see what God is doing. That we have a facility in Nakuru, we have a women's facility, we have this facility, and every now and then we do preventive programs. We go to the street, we go to schools, we sensitize about what God is able to do and what He's doing. And the joy of it all is every day seeing people that have gone through the program working alongside with us, working alongside, going out and reaching out to people. And we see God in a different way. And our God is so much alive. Our God is so much able to transform lives. One thing that I will probably touch on is the families. When we bring in our students in the program, there's one parent that came and she broke down. She broke down that, why are you guys taking care of only these people? And you forget about us. And in the psychology world, they say that an addict is just a flag bearer that, hey, this family has a problem. He is the voice of the family. But this woman, and before her, there were two other mothers who came. One came with an hamstring. The son had broken her arm. And one came with a black eye. The son had beaten her up. And they cry for help. So I would want to speak to families, that there is hope and there can be a transformation, and God heals. He doesn't only heal a particular individual who was gone through drug abuse or that life of addiction, but the entire unit of a family. God values families. And one of the regional directors has written a book that no mother gives back to a drug addict, which is quite true. Parents give up on those who take drugs, and they give up on them. But that cry of that one who is struggling with substance abuse is a cry that reflects the pain within the family, within the society, within the community, and in our nation at large. So the men and the women that we put in our program, they're just a sample of what is happening in our society. I believe the church, through Jesus Christ, has an answer to those who are dying, to those who are lost, to the families that are in despair, and that Jesus Christ is the answer. We want to enlarge our program. We want Teen Challenge to grow in the coast. We want Teen Challenge to grow in the northeast, and we want Teen Challenge to be in every county. That is our vision that we have, that Teen Challenge will grow. Our challenge again, that we've progressed tremendously. I would say that because when we were starting, we were trying to find our footing. But when you look at where we are today, that we not only have a footing, but we are able to train other people. We are able to train countries. Our colleagues from Tanzania, they will come to Kenya to learn about Teen Challenge. Colleagues from Rwanda will come to Kenya to learn about Teen Challenge. Teen Challenge Kenya has stood out. Burundi, they want to come to Kenya and learn. Every center Teen Challenge Kenya has become an icon in our region that they would really want to partner, and that is progress. And the guys that are doing the training and facilitate those kind of trainings are our graduates. That is growth. Challenge is the capacity. We really want to have as many as we can, and even reach out to the families. Yes, we have those sponsoring programs that we work with individuals or corporates that will want to support an individual to come through the program. And even Teen Challenge itself, we've allowed at least every center at one time to have a charity case. And that is what we desire at the end of it all, because our objective is to have a drug-free society, and not just a drug-free society, a drug-free society of people, of young men and women who know Jesus Christ. And we want to have a center that will not be charging. Yeah, will be free of charge, so that we change lives and represent Christ in the face of our nation. For somebody who is struggling, first of all, the good thing is that there is hope. All right? For any person who's struggling, there is hope and there is a way out. And you can feel that you're between a rock and a hard place. Our God is able to get to that level where you are and find you where you are and pick you up. All that you need to do is allow Him and surrender to Him and allow Him to bring you up. Right? So many times as addicts we fight and we want our way out, but our way out takes us deeper and deeper into the darkest hole of all. But when we say, yes, I've tried my best, I've done these sorts of things, and I surrender to you, Lord Jesus, just help me come out of this hole. God is so gracious. If He did it for me, if He did it for all my colleagues, if He did it for many people that I know, He can do it also for you. Yeah, He can do it for you. And He's there for you. Just surrender to Him and He will change your life.